Hello, welcome to the Analyst at the Ashes with me, Simon Hughes.
And I'm Simon Mann.
And welcome to the fourth day's play from the Perth Stadium. England against Australia, the Ashes, the first test.
How's it going?
Actually, no, it's not. It's not. It's 2 days ago since the match ended. I mean, I'm still recovering from it, aren't you?
It's extraordinary, really. I mean, it's bad news for everybody involved, apart from the Australian players who get 3 days off, back to their homes, see their families, a bit more rest and recuperation, and for some of the supporters, Australian supporters who would have loved it. But I mean, it's really bad for Cricket Australia. They've lost a lot of money. All the supporters who've turned up. Cricket media, it's not great for the broadcasters.
It's not great for TNT, is it? Who, of course, support this podcast. The next Test match will be on TNT, but not until the 4th of December. So have to fill it with highlights or lowlights. Actually, it's probably, you don't want to repeat too many of those. It was like a horror show, really, doing those wickets that fell on the second day, especially.
Yeah, one of England's lowest points that I can remember abroad and at home as well. I think it was the fact that they were on such a high. They were in control of the game, and it was just ripped from them so quickly. So yeah, not great for lots of people.
You would have seen Barmy Army England fans knocking around your hotel. I've seen them down on the beach. I mean, the worst thing is that today, of course, in Perth, it's actually not that bad weather. Yeah. But yesterday it was like England, wasn't it? It was showers and wind, and actually it wasn't a day for getting to the beach. Today we're lucky that we've got a nice spot in the Perth suburbs. You can see us on YouTube if you're listening to this. We're also recording this on YouTube on the Analyst channel, and we're sponsored by Betfair, and the Betfair odds haven't changed much since the denouement of England, that demise at Perth on the second day. So the Betfair odds of the series now are Australia 79% chance of winning, England just 15%, and the drawn series 7%. So it hasn't changed much, but it's certainly changed significantly since the beginning of the series, when England had a kind of 30% chance of winning. Now that's declined to 15%.
England came back in 1981. They came back in 2005. They lost the first two tests there, didn't they? Well, the first two tests. They lost those two test matches, first of the series. They had Ian Botham in 1981, the miracles, and last time round, or when they won in 2005. And you can catch up with our series, which is on our stream, the Analyst Inside Cricket, looking back at the 2005 series. When they won that series, I mean, they had a quality team, quality attack, and a team that had challenged Australia at times in the first Test match. Because the other thing as well is it was at home. In Australia, it just feels so much harder. I was weird watching it the other day. I was thinking, how have they done this? How can you be in control of a Test match at 1 o'clock, and by 6 o'clock, everyone's in the doldrum? All the England supporters and team and whatever are in the doldrums because Australia just ripped it away from you, and that's what happens out here. And it's not since 1954-5, when the great Sir Leonard was in charge of the England team, did England come back from losing the first Test match. And actually, on the 1st of December,
that is in Australia.
In Australia, yeah. On the 1st of December in 1954, the great Sir Leonard must have been feeling exactly as Ben Stokes was feeling after the game, and in the few days after.
And he won the toss, of course, in that test as well.
Well, because he won the toss, he put Australia into bat. They made about 600, and England lost the game by about an innings and 150 runs. So you can, but I suppose they knew it was coming, didn't they? In 1954, late November 1954. This time, he didn't see it coming almost until it was too late. And I think that is that context to it as well. And of course, the fact that it was all over in 2 days. There's a huge sense of anticlimax, massive build-up to this series, and then bang, it's just gone. And everyone's got to sit around, contemplating what's happened and what could happen. And a long time to contemplate it as well.
So, some good news for England, in a marginal sense. Today is actually Ian Botham's 70th birthday. And he's having a party. He's in Perth and he's having a bit of a party. Maybe that will just lift the spirits. And by the way, on this podcast, I have got an interview that I did with Botham last year talking about the Ashes, and we're going to play that out on a separate podcast today as well to celebrate the great man's 70th birthday. I talked to him a lot about the Ashes, in all the different ways that he experienced it from beginning when he was a man on the ground staff at Lord's, right through his experiences, of course, of playing the game and lifting England out of the doldrums, So just a little clip here, actually, from that 1981 series of where he thought the turning point was.
One of the great things about playing Test cricket when we played, you played proper Test cricket, as I call it. You played Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Then the two teams usually got together on a Saturday night, and you'd have a few drinks. And we did that at Headingley, and we had a marquee up at home, and the Australian team came to the barbecue, and we had a scrum down quite late on, which was traditional, and we beat the Aussies at the scrum down, and I'm convinced that was the start of their dramatic failure in that Ashes series. We did have Gat in the front row. Well, actually, he was the front row, but no, we were in there. It was great fun, great team spirit, and that's the kind of thing that's gone out the game. But that was great fun. You make so many friends, people for life. You know, if I go to Australia, Perth, because he doesn't leave Perth very often, but DK Lilly I'll be with him. Rodney Hogg lives over there now as well. They're friends for life, and you make friends for life in Test cricket.
So that's Beefy talking about the 1981 series, of course, and that podcast is on our YouTube channel as well as on this podcast channel if you want to listen to it to celebrate the great man's 70th birthday. And actually, it is slightly relevant because obviously he's not playing anymore, but what I feel has been the philosophy of England, people have been criticising the selection and the fact that they're sticking with Zach Crawley, for instance, who's now got the lowest average of any England opener who's played 50 innings, 30.22, slightly lower than Rory Burns. But they're sticking with him because, like with many of the other players in the side, they feel he can have an impact. He can do something that many other players can't, as Travis Head did, for instance. And I think they see it. I'm just trying to sort of slightly defend them and slightly understand their philosophy, is that it's not about average, it's not about consistency, it's about grabbing the moment. Head did that, Travis Head did that in Perth on that second day. And what they're hoping is that Crawley, who has got a track record of doing it occasionally, what they're hoping is a man like that will be able to do it in the second, third and fourth tests. So all is not lost from that point of view, but obviously somebody's got to deliver.
He was leading run scorer in the last Ashes series for England, Zach Crawley. Look, I think the point is, everybody now knows what England's philosophy is and the way they play and the way they want to play. The question is, the bottom line is, and we're going to find out in the next few weeks here, does it work? Does it work against the best teams? I think so far it's worked pretty well against some of the lesser teams. They're a bit off their game or they haven't quite got that quality. Yeah, England have brushed them aside, although they have had some real hiccups on the way. You know, just over a year ago, for example, they were losing in Pakistan to a pretty ordinary Pakistan side. I mean, there were some special circumstances. I mean, they played on a used pitch in the second Test match, for example, and then the third Test match, they got the big dryers out to make the pitch really dry, and England crumbled against spin. So, you know, they have been beaten by some of the lesser sides, but what they haven't done is beaten the best sides.
And they haven't won 5 Test series either. No. And that's where, you know, that is really where you prove your depth, your quality, your resilience, your ability to play the long game. And this is the problem. You know, I mean, McCullum has said, hasn't he, in the press when he was interviewed after the game, we need our bowlers he said fast bowlers need more time to recharge. Well, yeah, they do, but that means the batters have got to stay in.
But that's been a feature of England's cricket ever since Brendan took over as head coach. The innings are shorter, aren't they? Mainly, not every time. There was that big innings that England played at Old Trafford last summer against India, where I think they batted something like 150 overs for 670 or whatever it was. And that's a bit of an outlier in terms of length of innings. But I mean, one of the things about playing against a side with pace bowlers in their 30s is try to keep them out there as long as possible, not for 67 overs for 20 wickets. You know, a wicket every 20 balls. I mean, look, was this an outlier Test match on an outlier pitch? And did we have an outlier innings? I mean, that's what we're going to find out, isn't it? It was a unique game. I loved. There was a great social media reaction. Actually, it's been funny reading it all and just picking out certain things. But there's one that Cricket Australia released, and it's Travis Head. I don't know if you've seen it. Travis Head sitting at a table, just watching an iPad, and on it there's Stuart Broad saying, you know, this is the worst Australian side since 2010. And Travis, he's kind of looking at it, and he just like shakes his head, puts his iPad away, gets up, picks up an apple, takes a bite out of it, and sort of walks off, just shaking his head. It's just a nice, subtle 30 seconds of just like, yeah, really, is this the worst Australian side? Well, the thing is, it's not. I made this point before. It's not actually the biggest sledge in the world to say it's the worst Australian side since 2010-11, is it? Because it probably is, but that doesn't mean to say they're a bad side. That's the other point. And it's probably the best England side since then, but that doesn't mean to say they're a great side. Do you know what I mean? It may be that they've just come a bit closer together. They were well apart, and now they're just a bit closer together.
Actually, Broad stuck to his guns when they did the Sky Cricket podcast the day after the Test. He stuck to his guns and said, "Yeah, I still stick by that assertion." But they have played some other clips of him in the commentary box when the collapse was happening, and particularly one when Joe Root was out. Matt Hayden was actually on commentary when Root played his loose drive in the second innings, dragged on. And of course, it's Hayden who has said, if Root doesn't get 100 in this series, he's going to run naked around the MCG. And I'm not sure when Root got out, you could see in the commentary box Hayden calling it in a typically excited way, and Broad covering his eyes. And I think there was two reasons for that. One, obviously, Root getting out, and two, the thought that the idea that Hayden is going to run around the MCG naked is getting a little bit closer.
Well, it is. It's 2 innings closer,
imminent,
isn't it? It's 2 innings closer. Still 8 to go, 4 Test matches to go. There's just that little meme of Stewart just closing his eyes, isn't there? And in frustration. And again, you don't need words sometimes. Just a little video. And the same with the Travis Head one, and the same with the Stewart Broad meme. It kind of sums up the frustration that England supporters feel, and a lot of people have paid a lot of money to come out here. 50,000 people with tickets for the third day.
Listen, I paid for my flight as well.
Yeah.
I
was saying, it affects everyone. I was saying at the start, the broadcast media, the people, Test match special, same. We don't want 2 days of cricket. People have been saying to me, you got 3 days off now. I didn't want 3 days off. No. This is the Ashes. You want to be watching, commentating, involved in cut and thrust cricket. Okay, you might get not much of a 5th day somewhere. That's part of the game. But 2 days, it just feels so disappointing. Yeah, it's not great for podcasts. It's not good for all the writers as well. Something to write. You get the harps out and violins. I mean, what the point being, it's just not good. It's just not good for the game. It's great for Australia, for the Australian team. Because they've put down a bit of a marker there, haven't they? You came at us, you bowled like the wind on that second evening. You routed us, but look what we did. We came back and won by 8 wickets with 3 days to spare, and we knocked them off in 28 overs. Fabulous for them. What we should do, Yoz, is we should talk about what England are going to do from here, and we should talk about what Australia are going to do from here as well, because it's not totally straightforward for Australia. They've still got a few issues, and I think that's the point. Are England able to exploit that? But before we do that, the next Test match is going to be the Gabba. It's a pink ball Test match. Do you think pink ball Test match is a bit of a lottery?
Yeah, it is, because you don't know exactly how the pink ball is going to behave in different situations. There was the old theory that when it was sort of that twilight zone, between the lights coming on and getting totally dark, that was when the ball did the most. And so you've often found teams trying to manipulate the scoring and their innings so that they sort of declare around about 5 to 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock say, and then it's that twilight zone when they're hoping the ball will do the most. But actually, the stats have said that often the ball does more in the afternoon, and actually not so much in the twilight zone.
So you don't want to be declaring then? You don't want to be going for one of those risky depths?
The stats are not that reliable, right. I don't think. They're not giving consistent pictures.
Because there haven't been enough matches?
Yeah, partly that. And different teams and different grounds, obviously. Brisbane hasn't had a pink ball Test before, I don't think, has it?
It has, yeah.
It has. It's had the West Indies.
Yeah, the West Indies beat Australia actually when they played them.
But England haven't played a pink ball Test or a match for a long time, have they?
Mount Maunganui on a New Zealand tour was the last time they played a pink ball game. That was a while back.
I mean, why are they a lottery? Why would I say they're a lottery? Because the pink ball does behave slightly differently to the red ball. It does swing. I think it swings early, actually. But Mitchell Starc has a fantastic record in pink ball tests.
Well, that's good news.
That's what people are saying. Not only have they knocked us over in 2 days now, but now up against Starc in a pink ball game. Yeah. His prowess is superb. It is a lottery because you don't know exactly how it's going to behave.
Does the Ashes need a pink ball test matches?
No, not really. Why do you do it? I quite like the idea. It's a different challenge, isn't it? What's quite sad is that, or sort of strange, is that the famous test match to celebrate 150 years of test cricket at the MCG in March next year, after next, 2027, that is going to be a pink ball test. And that does seem strange.
Well, it's going to be March in Melbourne. It might be a bit
quite
chilly
cold,
as well. Anyway, there was the centenary test at Lord's back in the day, wasn't it? That was ruined by rain. I mean, but that can happen in England. Anyway, let's put that aside.
So look, I mean, I don't think they should be thinking too far ahead, except that the batters do need some. I think they should be playing, and we've said this already. They should be playing some pink ball cricket before they get to the Gabba, and they've got the opportunity to play at Canberra. But they're not at the moment. They're not taking up that opportunity.
Well, look, this is what day is it today? Tuesday, is it?
Monday.
Monday. It's Monday. It can happen to you. It's Monday morning. As we understand at the moment, some of the England batters are not going to go to Canberra. That's what Ben Stokes said afterwards. The plan doesn't change. Brendan McCullum was asked about it. He wasn't quite as unequivocal as that. So anyway, so that might change. But I go back to this. I think we talked about it the other day, that if that were me, especially I had 3 days of no cricket. If that were me, I think I quite like, if I'd not done very well in this game, I would like to. But then they think in a different way, and there's that thing of just stepping back from the spotlight, the pressure. But there'll be people listening to this saying that it's madness that they're not taking the opportunity to practice under lights with the pink ball. Look, Canberra is completely different to Brisbane, but it's still playing cricket, and it's a pink ball and it's lights, and you get a what's it like? Some of these players have not played pink ball cricket or very much of it at all. So you'd think you'd want to get used to it. Of course, they will have some practice sessions.
Yeah.
But as you said the other day, is that a good substitute for playing in the middle? Well, you can all make your minds up about that listening to this.
Listen, we'll take a quick break, and afterwards we'll talk about what England and Australia may do in the next test, and also we'll read out some of your quotes and comments which came in on YouTube. Right, we'll just read out a few comments from our YouTube channel. We've had some Aussie comments, actually. One of them is, "What a win for us Aussies. Your coach is leading your players down a crazy cult. Stop following his madness and get back to playing hard test cricket where patience and discretion are valued. He's never won any trophies," bit harsh, "and doesn't know how to reach those elite levels." Bit mean that. But anyway, that's from Saz 4884.
I mean, the point about this comment about it being a cult has been made before, hasn't it? About that bazball. Look, just to emphasise, Brendan McCullum does not like the term bazball, and he didn't label it bazball. It was labelled by a journalist who called it that, and it was picked up. I mean, everything's called ball these days, isn't it? Wherever the manager or the coach is, it's always called their
or
ball.
gate, of course.
Yeah, or
golf gate, which is affecting the Aussies with Khawaja playing golf.
Well, we'll talk about that in a moment. Yeah, golf gate, bazball. Everything's ball now. People just picked up and ran with it. But it's a particular way of approaching the game, isn't it? Really, trying to take the pressure off, play some freedom. Not that sort of recrimination, but it's been a question that's been raised a few times since the Perth Test match. Is there kind of enough accountability for the way that players play?
And I think there's also a technical point actually as well, which is important. I did a piece on Substack, the Crickverse, the other day called "To Leave or Not to Leave," and it's become the sort of defining image of England, is going at everything. I'm just going to demonstrate what England did wrong, I felt, at Perth, and what they need to look out for at Brisbane. I've got a bat here behind me, and what they did was they played at balls which were really quite wide outside off stump, on a length, trying to push with their hands away from their body. Now, I can put a picture of Harry Brook getting out, actually, doing exactly this. And he's set up to play with the ball on about middle and off, with his left foot on around about middle and leg stumps. Not much footwork. And then if the ball is a bit wider and moving wider, he uses his hands to play it, you know, square of the wicket or through extra cover. That's fine on a flat pitch or against white ball deliveries where there's no movement. But when there's a bit more bounce, as there was in Perth and there will be in Brisbane as well, that gets a little bit taller, the ball gets higher and takes the edge, as you can see from this picture that I posted of Harry Brook getting out. So you have to think about leaving those balls, initially anyway, until you've got used to that extra bounce, because otherwise the edge is going to carry to slip or gully. And England did that several times. There was 3 wickets that fell in the space of, I don't know, 10 balls, was Ollie Pope, Harry Brook, and then Joe Root going for a loose drive and dragging it on. And it was the bounce and movement that caused those dismissals.
Yeah, and I think we all felt, as we were watching it, that was where the momentum of the game changed. Having said that, England thought 200 was a tall order to chase. They thought they were in the game, and I think there were a few Australians who thought that as well. That's why the Travis Head innings was the sort of the joker in the pack, wasn't it? It kind of trumped anything else that England could come up with. But if you only set 200, then you are vulnerable to that happening. I think the point being is that if England had just played a cannier game, it could have been 300, and Australia would have found 300 tough. I know they got 200 for 2, but they'd have found 300 tough, psychologically different. Also, who said it? Who said 300 would be tough? Travis Head said it. He said that, 300 would have been hard.
Well, because you've got to play a bit more normally, haven't you? I mean, you can't just play, in a way, chasing 200. I mean, we've seen it in T20. Teams can get 200 plus in a 20-over game and take risks. But getting 300, that's that longer chase. I mean, you think back actually to the England run chase against India at Headingley when they were needing well over 300. And the openers, Crawley and Duckett, played really sensibly, didn't they? They didn't go after the bowling. They realised probably Jasprit Bumrah was the big threat. So they actually absorbed the pressure and then sort of cashed in a little bit later. And actually Head, if you analyse his innings, he was cautious for the first 5 overs, and then once he realised the pitch was a bit slower and it wasn't, and also the England bowling was a bit slower as well. It wasn't as potent as in the first innings. He then was able to play more natural game. Actually, funnily enough, I was with a chap who played for Adelaide, or in Adelaide club cricket yesterday, chatting, and he said that Travis Head is inspired by 2 famous left-handers for Australia, Darren Lehmann and David Hooks, who both played in South Australia at Adelaide Oval, both left-handers, and they both profited on square of the wicket because Adelaide Oval is very short square of the wicket, and so a player who's good at pulling and slicing and cutting gets more runs than a guy hitting it down the ground, which is a much longer boundary. So in a way, Travis Head is sort of exploiting the memories of 2 very successful left-handers who came from Adelaide, Lehmann and David Hooks.
And the other thing as well about starting off quite cautious and then gradually picking up the rate, I think you sense the kind of psychological change as well in that Australia run chase, that Australia second innings, that England would have been coming out thinking early wickets, wouldn't they? If we can get them 10 for 2, we've got a great chance. And then it was 30 for no wicket and 40 for no wicket, and the whole psychological balance of the game changed. I know if you can nip out one, then it can change again, but once you got to like 40, 50, then you felt big problems for England. So there was that aspect to it. Don't underestimate the psychological balance of the game changing. And then of course once it got to 100 for 1, you've got that freedom to play, haven't you? You've got that freedom to attack, and he did, and Australia just romped to victory.
So we've got a message here from Craig Moy, 5657. If I remember correctly, it took the Aussies about 10 days to win the Ashes in 2001. There was that image of Shane Warne sort of cavorting on the balcony at Trent Bridge, wasn't there? With a 2-day and a pink ball test coming, that could be under threat, the 10-day Ashes victory. And that is not the all-conquering Aussie team of 2001 either. Bazball has been the greatest gift to Australia. We love hearing about it.
Well, look, England bazballed them to some extent in England last time. I think, given a fair wind, and given a bit more canniness, England could have hammered Australia in 2023. They could have won that series 4-1, and obviously give a fair win, given some decent weather at Old Trafford as well. That was one that got away from them, wasn't it? So that they have come up against England before, and England have really applied pressure to them with that way of playing. The point is, I think, it has to happen now, doesn't it? It has to happen at Brisbane. It has to succeed. If it doesn't, England are 2-0 down. He feels they can just about give it up. They're not, they're almost certainly not going to come back and win the last 3 Test matches. I mean, that would be the turnaround or turnaround. So it has to happen at Brisbane. It's all on now. It's no good thinking about the future. England have to make it count. And I mean, the other thing about that point about 10 days, all over in 10 days. Yeah, 2 days here. I mean, do we think there might be another short game at Brisbane?
Yeah.
And that was just, again.
Well, weather dependent, actually, isn't it? Because they do get a bit more rain there.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, in a way, I mean, you wouldn't wish rain on the Ashes, but England might be quite happy to get out of Brisbane with a draw. A weather interrupted draw. Of course, they want to win. They want to fight back and level up the series. Look, we talked in the first half about Australia having 1 or 2 issues as well. So it's not. I mean, there were times during that game when the Australian media were starting to question their team, weren't they? They said, look at all the holes in it. So, for example, Josh Hazlewood, there seemed to be some suggestion about that his place or participation in the series is under threat, not just the next test, but the series. So there's that aspect to it. Well, Australia ultimately didn't miss him in the last game. He's a fine bowler, though. But he missed most of the last series out here, and Australia still won. There's Usman Khawaja, who obviously failed in the first innings, along with quite a few of his colleagues, and they didn't have to bat in the second innings. What do Australia do? Do you think Head at the top of the order and Green at 5, Webster at 6 is a decent option? I mean, it gives Australia a lot of bowling options, doesn't it, if they do that? Is it one too many? I mean, England got 5 pace bowlers. We've said that works for them, but I mean, 5 pace bowlers for Australia?
Well, what, so you think Lyon wouldn't play?
Lyon
is going to play.
Lyon plays.
But I see, with Webster and Green.
Webster and Green at 5 and 6, you've got 2 all-rounders.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah,
I would be dropping Usman Khawaja. He hasn't contributed
Webster
much.
for Khawaja.
Yeah, Khawaja hasn't contributed much for a while. There's a general anti-feeling about him that he doesn't really contribute much. He's not particularly fit. He stands at first slip. Obviously, there was this slight controversy over his appearance on the golf course the day before, which caused that disruption in the Australian batting order because he had a bad back, partly perhaps as a result of golf.
That's been denied.
Okay,
been denied.
Yeah, fair enough. But anyway, I mean, he hasn't contributed a lot in the last few months, has he? So the time is right to put. I mean, look at the impact Head had, and against the pink ball, he could be very dangerous.
Yeah. The only thing I would say about that is this: Head opening the batting. You're kind of putting your eggs in that basket, and also. Look, he played magnificently opening the batting, but it does give you a chance. The new ball here is important, isn't it? And so you basically, against one of Australia's most dangerous players, you've got the new ball against him. Whereas if he bats at 5, you've seen him bat dangerously at 5 as well. The chances are he's not coming in against the new ball. He's coming in when it might be 30, 35 overs old or whatever. Difficult to tell in any particular situation. So therefore, he's got even. The pressure on him is not as great, and he still can be devastating. So I just wonder whether it's all very well saying put him up, but you have got the new ball against him, and you would back yourself from time to time to sort him out with the new ball. What do you think about that? Is that fair?
Sure. I think in a way England would have mixed feelings about him continuing to open. They know how dangerous he can be, but also the opportunity to get rid of him early on. And Jofra. What interesting thing is that England didn't go round the wicket to him. Jofra bowled over the wicket to him, which I was surprised at because he's got a lot of left-handers out bowling round the wicket, and Travis Head generally, I don't think, plays that ball from round the wicket as well as he does over the wicket. Over the wicket, there's that natural angle across, and he can play those cut shots and give himself a bit of room. But round the wicket, where the ball's coming into him and then moving away, in typical style from Archer, that I think he's more vulnerable to that. So I thought England got that wrong, actually. And that'd be something they reflect on. I mean, Khawaja is a calming influence. for Australia at the top of the order. But I sort of feel his days are numbered, really.
He made a big score in Sri Lanka when he was under pressure of his place, and you think, well, that's not going to be anything.
That's kept him in the side.
Kept him in the side, and it's not going to be anything like he's going to experience in the Ashes. The type of bowling.
Yeah.
Listen, last time he was excellent, wasn't he? 4 years ago, but time does catch up with all of us actually. So we'll see. We'll see what they do. I mean, there's often an inclination, isn't there, to keep a winning side. So Australia might go with that. Now, talk about keeping the same side. What do England keep a losing side and just say, actually, look, we went well for some of that Test match, just play better. We believe in these players. Do you see the same template for England at the Gabba?
I do, but I would be thinking about a new opener. Now, people say there's no spare opener in the squad. Jacob Bethell is the spare batsman, and obviously he could open. But they'll probably give Crawley at least one more go, maybe two more goes. And the other option could be that guy you picked at the beginning of the summer. McKinney, who's here with the Lions and made runs in the warm-up match in both innings, didn't he? I mean, they could think about that. He's another left-hander, but I can't see them doing that. Bowling-wise, I can't see Bashir playing at Brisbane, so it's going to be the same, pretty much likely to be the same bowling attack. They all did a pretty good job. They bowled well. I thought Gus Atkinson was outstanding. Archer was pretty good, excellent in the first innings, not quite so good in the second innings. Cast backed them up well. Obviously Stokes bowled excellently. Mark Wood didn't have much bowling, and he rattled a few cages, didn't he, with the ball? So, yeah, I mean, I would stick with the same attack.
Well, the one other option they've got, clear option, is Josh Tongue.
Yeah.
So a pace bowler replacing a pace bowler, but it's not as if they've had to necessarily manage their workloads. I mean, they didn't bowl that many overs in the match. So 45 plus 28, you can do the arithmetic. I mean, it's much less than a full day's cricket, and there's about 11 days between the two Test matches. So as long as no one goes down injured between now and Brisbane, you'd think it's almost certain to be the same team. Like you, Jack Crawley's going to open in the next Test match. They're not going to change that. They haven't changed it for the last however many years. And you mentioned his average. Jacob Bethell has been playing for the Lions against the Cricket Australia team at Lilac Hill. He made 40 odd yesterday. Will Jack's 30 odd. So Bethell was batting at number 3. I can't see that change coming.
Okay.
I really can't. And the way Brendan Cullen was talking, any batter can get a pair, can't they? In a game of cricket. So it happens to most during their career. Most top order batters have a pair.
I only ever got one pair.
There we are. You see, great batters get pairs. You see,
I only ever got one, and it was the last game. It was my last ever game, first class game.
Oh, okay.
First innings bowled by Kevin Curran, dragged on. Second innings, caught gully, bowled Ambrose. First ball, horrible. Yeah, I was hoping to get through my whole first class career without a pair, and I failed.
Well,
so I'm part of the primary club.
It's not bad to get to your last game and get perhaps that's old Father Time just tapping you on the shoulder and saying, not getting any wickets, not getting any runs. Time
you're looking
to
a bit
retire.
old.
But look, the point being about Zach Crawley is, I mean, there'll be people shouting at us, how can he play? How can he play? But with England, there's that hope it is hope and belief as well that he can
almost desperation.
Come up, we can see come up to him. But if it doesn't, as I saying earlier, it's got to happen now, hasn't it? Otherwise, there will be changes because the project will be in tatters. And
Brand McCullum will be
tarnished.
Very tarnished.
Yeah, ultimately tarnished. It's given us a huge amount of fun, enjoyment, and it's given England a lot of victories. Look, when it all started, you've got to remember back to the end of Joe Root's time as captain. I mean, I think England, was it 17 matches without a win or something like that?
17 with one win.
17 with one win, and then England started to win.
England haven't won a Test in Australia since January 2011.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah,
I can remember. I can still
Sydney.
In Sydney, I can still see it now. The celebrations after,
and it was the players sat round. The Strauss team sat round on the ground afterwards, talking about their experiences and
doing the sprinkler dance.
It's amazing. I wonder if they ever thought that England wouldn't win another Test match after that in Australia. It's quite sad, isn't it? So what was your plan?
Whatever. Whatever.
Until now.
Until
anyway.
now. Right.
So what are your plans from now on then? You're going to the
Canberra. I'm going to
you?
Canberra. I'm going to the Canberra match. Yeah, we're doing commentary on the BBC. And the good, I mean, the thing about that, and also the Brisbane Test match I mentioned earlier about is pink ball, good. But what it does mean, day-night game, is great for both UK and for Australian TV viewers, and that's obviously why it's being done. One of the reasons it's being done, because in the UK on TNT. And on Test Match Special, we'll go through to something like midday, and in Australia, of course, it's evening time, which is when people come home from work and can sit down and watch the cricket. So that there's an obvious commercial reason behind it, and I think all the broadcasters will be hoping that it goes at least 4 days. There is something meaty to watch and extended to watch. So off to Canberra.
I'm going the opposite direction. I'm going down south in Western Australia to Denmark. You've never heard of it, have you?
It's a little town. You go north to Denmark, don't you? Normally?
North and quite a long way
north of Germany.
West. It's a little town south of Margaret River, where a friend of mine stays, and apparently it's got the best beaches in Australia. So we'll see.
Did you see the other day on the giant screen? It said which country has the better beaches?
No.
Australia or England or the UK? Guess which country won the poll? Guess which country won the poll?
Oh, well, that's difficult.
Let me think. There were some nice beaches in the UK, aren't there? But the problem, I think, with the beaches in the UK is that when you dip your toe in the water, it's just a little bit cold. I don't think I've swum in the sea in the UK for, I can't remember the last.
Really? Oh, I love it.
Do you?
Yeah.
Freezing
I
cold.
go swimming in the UK. I've been swimming everywhere I go. Even I was in Portugal in late October, swimming there. It was lovely.
Well, yeah, Portugal.
But it was October.
Yeah. Actually, Portugal can be cold, can't it?
Yeah, well, it's the Atlantic.
Yeah.
I've been in the sea here in Perth. It's a bit rough, but it's beautiful.
Well, be very, very careful if you go swimming if it's rough, Yoz. Yeah. I had a horrendous experience in Thailand earlier this year.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
What happened?
Have I not told you?
No.
No. Well, yeah.
You nearly broke your neck, did you?
Nearly drowned.
God.
Yeah.
Well, you must tell us about that another time.
I'm here to tell the tale. Yeah. Anyway, look after yourself when you go swimming. Anyway, enjoy your time in Denmark, and we'll regather. In time for the Brisbane Test match.
We'll certainly regather in time for that. And I've got one other thing lined up. I'm going to interview in a couple of days John Stevenson, the former Essex and England batsman, all-rounder, who is now chief executive of the WACA here in Perth. So it's his job to make sure the pitch and the ground and everything is sorted, and also the finances. In fact, he's very much in control of the business of the Optus Stadium in Perth. So that's our next interview. An Englishman doing a great job, apparently, in Perth, and providing a wicket which gave... well, I don't know how the financial officer of the WACA feels about a 2-day test, but certainly the public loved the victory, didn't they?
Yeah, unless you had a ticket for the third day.
Yeah.
I think lots of jubilant Australians, and the noise was incredible in the stadium, wasn't it? As Travis said, was bashing it everywhere.
Actually, I'll play. Well, just to finish, just to kind of make your experience of listening to this podcast thoroughly miserable. I'm going to play the sound of Australia hitting the winning runs. It was Steve Smith to go out, and we'll see you in the next couple of days with some more cricket conversation talking about the Ashes.
Thanks very much for listening. Goodbye for now, everyone.